A Smokey Surprise. Gordon is one of the fastest engines on the island of Sodor, and the city of Truro is a record holder. He was one of the first engines to ever go 100 miles per hour. He's rather famous for this, and is often seen pulling special excursions around the island of Sodor. It is here that he reunites with Duck, and more recently Oliver. The three engines reminisce on the days of the Great Western Railway, and all agree that they would not want to be anything else. One bright summer day, Duck was taking a train to Edward's branch line. He had to stop at a station, and was surprised to see Truro there, waiting at the platform. "What are you doing here?" Duck asked. "The mainland requested a special tourist train for people visiting England, and Sodor is one of the few stops. I'll be here for a few days, but I'm staying at Tidmouth this time." Duck sighed. "That's too bad. Oliver would have loved your company." "I know their engine. I just hope Gordon's in a good mood. He never seems happy when I visit." "That's because when you first visited all those years ago, he wanted to one-up you," Duck said snootily. "And in doing so, he lost his dome while going over the viaduct." Truro was appalled. "Oh my, poor engine. I'll tell you what though, that's never happened to me before." "That's because you were built for speed," Duck began. "Gordon was too, but he literally knocked himself to bits going at the speed he was. You represent class and elegance. Everything the Great Western Railway stands for." I'm sorry to say that Duck's words unfortunately inflated a very humble Truro's ego. On the other side of the island, Gordon was cross, but not at City of Truro. James had been late in clearing the last signal box, and that made Gordon late. He thundered down the line, desperate to make up for lost time. "Out of my way," Gordon growled as he whooshed past James. He was 5 minutes late at the next station. The passengers understood, but were still very cross. Truro pulled up alongside him. "But what's this, Gordon? Shouldn't we have left already?" Gordon said nothing. He pretended he hadn't heard. "I am surprised. That never happened on my railway," Truro continued. "We were built for this kind of work. Always on time, never late." Gordon lost patience. "Well, this isn't your railway now, is it? Why don't you just go back, since you miss it so much?" He paused impressively. "Wait, you can't, can you?" Gordon concluded. As his guard's whistle blew, he hissed steam indignantly at Truro and set off. "Now why'd you have to go and provoke him?" the visiting engine's driver said rather crossly. "Montague was right. I'm Great Western, and it's about time I showed the world just how Great Western I truly am." Later that evening, Gordon was returning from the mainland. He was thinking about what he would say to Truro when they next met. Instead, when he got back to the big station, passengers were crowding around the celebrity like never before. It was like a scene from a movie. "Well, what's all this?" Gordon puzzled Henry. "Apparently, Truro went 100 miles again today," Henry said, feeling very proud. "Doesn't he know how dangerous that is?" "Oh, calm down, Gordon. Of course he does. He also wouldn't go at such speeds to prove a point. He doesn't have an ego. He's just giving the passengers what they want." Gordon grunted, for he thought Henry was right. What both engines couldn't have imagined was how wrong Henry truly was. Truro was enjoying the attention, now more than ever. Duck's words finally sank into his smokebox, and he felt even more puffed up than before. "Tomorrow," he thought to himself, "it's time to break that speed record." When Truro arrived at the big station the next morning, Gordon and the express had already left. Truro didn't mind this, for he knew he'd see Gordon. He buffered up to the train, and the guard blew his whistle. Truro was off, once again. He raced through the countryside, his speed climbing ever so gracefully. That's when the trouble started. "Is it just me, or does it feel like the temperature's rising?" "It does. There's water in the injector though, so we should be fine." The poor driver had too much sweat in his eyes to realize that the injector was empty, and had been empty for the last few miles. Truro had pushed himself too hard and had no water, as his steam pressure grew higher and higher. "I say, I feel so warm. Something's wrong," the driver said, wiping his face for the 100th time. Then he cried out, "Horrors! It's like a wildfire in his firebox." The fireman wiped his eyes and gasped. His injector's been empty this entire time. He's been running on nothing but heat and steam. The crew realized this far too late. Steam was bellowing from Truro on all sides, and his face was redder than anything. I'm going to burst. I'm going to burst. We have to clear this last station. Then it's open country, and we can rest him. Let's hope he makes it, the fireman said gravely. Truro thundered through Edward Station and up the hill. I want to stop. I want to stop, he cried out as he bellowed towards the next station. Gordon was at Maron, dropping off some more passengers. He had decided to leave the sheds before Truro woke up, so he wouldn't have to deal with his new persona. Suddenly, a shrill whistle sounded. Gordon looked at his driver. Well, that can't be Truro. His train stops at every station, and he's not due for another 10 minutes, the station master muttered. Gordon's driver looked uneasy. Well, either he has a special status we don't know about, or... Truro thundered into the station. Help! Help! He raced past Gordon, who let out a rather loud, ouch! As fast as Truro had arrived, he was gone again. Gordon's driver walked up to him. What's wrong, old boy? That silly great engine practically burnt me. The last door of the express closed, and the driver boarded his engine. But the guard's whistle never blew, and the signal never changed. 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes. Gordon had been at the station for an entire hour. Why haven't we left yet? I have a business meeting in Vigarstown and I can't be late. We know just about as much as you do, old boy, Gordon's driver said to the grumpy passenger. You might want to exchange your ticket for a bus ticket if that's the case. The older passenger turned on his heel and headed to the ticket window. As he did so, the driver noticed the guard and the station master whispering amongst each other. He motioned to the fireman, and the two joined the small group at the edge of the platform. The fireman returned to Gordon with grave news. Our famous visitor ran out of water, and he's practically fit to burst. He can't carry on, and they need you to take his passengers. Can you do it, Gordon? Of course, at once, Gordon said. He blew a long, loud whistle to alert the passengers who had exited the coaches during the long wait. Get in quickly, please, and make as much room as you can. This is an emergency. He took off down the line to find Truro. Gordon found him in a cloud of steam. His fire had been dropped, and passengers and crew were lowering buckets into the nearby river to collect water and cool him off. Gordon stopped right beside him and whispered to him. You might be built for speed, but your era of speed has long passed, as has mine. You don't need to break any more records. You're already famous for the one you have. Truro looked down at his buffers. The big blue engine had given him something to think about. The passengers changed trains, and Gordon was ready to go again. As he left, Truro called out, Thank you, Gordon, and I'm sorry I was rude to you. Over the hissing steam and the noisy passengers, Gordon let out a polite, Poop, poop. All Truro could do was let off steam. Gordon saw to it that night, when Truro returned to the sheds, that each engine remained respectfully silent. Truro whispered to him, No wonder the Fat Controller calls you the pride of the line. All Gordon could do was smile as both engines went to sleep.